Today we are interviewing Jennnifer. And Jennnifer, I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do. And then I'm going to ask you a few questions if that's okay.
My name is Jennnifer Dolgoff. I am a postpartum doula, and I have been supporting growing families for 9 years.
All right. And can you tell us what is a postpartum doula?
Most people are familiar with a birth doula, which is someone that supports the mom through labor and delivery. As a postpartum doula, I come in after the baby is born, usually when everyone is home, to support the growing family in the home with education, practical support like doing dishes and laundry, and emotional support, helping mom process the birth, and just anything that mom needs to have the time and space to do self-care for herself so that she can be present for the baby.
And how did you come to work as a doula?
After the birth of my first child, my mother-in-law gave us money to hire someone to come and help me because I was struggling. My mother-in-law and father-in-law lived in another state. My parents lived in another state, so we had no family nearby to help. So I contacted an agency, and she sent someone out to the house to help me. And after my time with her, I said to the owner of the agency, I'm going to work for you someday. I had no idea that this even existed, and it made such a difference in my ability to cope with the changes of becoming a mother and how exhausting it was.
All right. And so tell us, in your words, why would someone hire a postpartum doula?
So bringing home a new baby is both a blessing and it's exhausting. And the goal of a postpartum doula is to provide education and practical support to the new parents. What that looks like is, you walk in, the first thing I always ask a new mom, have you had breakfast? Did you eat anything? How did you sleep last night? If mom hasn't eaten or had a drink, I will provide her with breakfast. I always ask, what do you need more, food or a nap or a shower? I give them the space to be able to take care of themselves so that they can be present for the baby when I'm not there. And this is really, really important because if we don't take care of ourselves as parents, we're not going to be able to take care of our newborn. There are multiple studies that look at the two biggest risk factors for postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, and they're isolation and exhaustion. And a postpartum doula helps with both of those. So it really does help mom and baby get off to the best start, not feeling isolated and alone.
All right. So tell me, kind of in real time, practically, how does it work? Do they call you? Do they come to your website? How do they get in touch? What's kind of the first step?
So the first step is to know everybody needs help. There is no woman that doesn't need support. There is no super mom. So the first step is recognizing that it is okay to ask for help and that everybody needs help. To contact me, you can reach me by emailing me or going to my website, and there's a contact form. There are two ways that people come to me. One way is they plan in advance, they get me ahead of time, I meet with them prenatally, and then we plan to work together after the baby comes. That's the ideal way to come to a client. Then the other way I get my clients is crisis intervention. So everybody's like, I can do this, I can do this. And after a week or two, when the food stops coming in from the neighbors and the grandparents go home, and all of a sudden their husband goes back to work and they're left home alone with the baby, and all of a sudden all the feelings start coming up and they realize, I need help. I would rather do crisis prevention than crisis intervention. So I'm always eager to meet with moms prenatally. If mom is on bed rest for any reason, I'm also happy to go and help support during that time as well. I love helping them set up their nursery. There are so many things that are marketed to new parents with a hefty price tag on it. And I like to encourage families to recognize that babies don't need all of that. One of the things that I highly recommend instead of baby showers with lots of gifts of things that you're never going to use is to pool together resources and hire a postpartum doula, because there's no greater gift than giving that kind of support to a new mom.
Yeah.
I distinctly remember one client, and she had a lot of anxiety, prenatally and postpartum, very anxious, very unsure of herself. And I remember walking in one day and finding her on the couch, breastfeeding her baby, looking very relaxed. And I looked at her and I smiled and I said, "You don't need me anymore." And she gives out this huge sigh. She's like, "You're right, I don't, but I still want you." And that is the goal.
Yeah.
As a postpartum doula, is that I want to empower women to have confidence in themselves to be able to go it alone. I don't want you to want me forever. I want you to feel strong and confident and capable. I got this. That's what I want to hear from my clients, not stay forever.
All right, so let's talk about your top tips for new moms. What would you tell a new mom?
So my number one tip is always, there is so much information out there with the internet, Instagram, Facebook, bossy neighbors, grandparents, and it is very, very overwhelming. I always encourage parents to pick one or two people or resources that they want to confide in. Someone that they have like a gut feeling like this is in a line with how they want to be, and stick with that. To not ask or look for too many different opinions, because as many people as you ask will be as many opinions as you get. And it's enough to paralyze a new mom. What's right, so pick one two trusted resources, a family member, a postpartum doula, a particular person on Instagram, but just one or two. And as long as it is working for you, stick with it. I guess going back to what I said before about asking for help. No, we were not meant to do it alone. We used to live in villages. We used to have our grandparents and our aunties and our sisters and our cousins, and we would witness them raising their children, and then they would help us raise ours. And given that we live in a society where most families are so split up all over the country, all over the world, it doesn't change the fact that we're not meant to do it alone. So ask for help. Just whether it's in the form of a postpartum doula, whether it's a family member, whether it's through your church or your neighborhood. It's just so important to not do it alone, because again, the isolation and the exhaustion will take its toll. There is no shame in asking for help. In fact, it's a sign of strength to be able to say, "I need help, please help me." So I just want to remind new parents what a productive day with the newborn looks like. Taking care of your baby, feed, burp, change diaper, and lots of cuddles. And eating and drinking for yourself. Take a nap or a shower, get some fresh air if you can. Everything else can wait. Just because the dishes or the laundry didn't get done does not mean it was not a productive day. If you took care of yourself and you took care of your baby, gold star.
What is the difference between a postpartum doula and a night nanny? Is that the same?
They are not. So a night nanny or a night nurse, their job is solely to take care of the infant, whereas a postpartum doula's primary job is to take care of mom. There are postpartum doulas that do overnight shifts and look after the baby during the night. And when many people think about hiring help, they always think about hiring overnight help so that mom and dad can sleep. But I think they're underestimating the importance of good daytime support, because as a postpartum doula, I am there to support mom, teach mom how to establish healthy infant sleep during the day, which will then enable the baby to sleep better at night when the baby's brain is physiologically ready for it. Baby can't sleep through the night until their brain is ready, but laying the foundation of good sleep during the day will help ensure better sleep at night. And the bonus of all of that really is, though, while mom and baby are napping during the day, lots of household chores will get done that don't get done with a night nurse, to my knowledge. Maybe some night nurses do household chores, but to the best of my knowledge, they don't. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, in my opinion. I encourage families to have a balance of both daytime support and nighttime support.
Is there a general milestone, like an accepted age that most babies are sleeping through the night?
So generally we say about 12 weeks when the circadian rhythm is firmly established. Some babies need to eat more than other babies, though. Like, there's no one size fits all. Some babies sleep through the night very early. And what sleeping through the night, when parents say that their infant is sleeping through the night at, let's say, 8 weeks, what that actually means is the baby is going for like a 5 or 6 hour stretch. It doesn't actually mean the baby is sleeping from 7 to 7 or 8 to 8. That generally does not happen until about 12 weeks gestational age, or 12 weeks postpartum.
Exactly. All right. Anything moms to be should be doing to prepare?
So the number one thing people always tell you is stock up on your sleep, right? Which you can't do, obviously. I wish you could. There really is not much that you can do to prepare for bringing home your baby. No matter how much preparation, it's going to be different. It's going to be overwhelming, and you'll be okay. The only practical thing that you can do to prepare for bringing home your baby would be to cook healthy meals and freeze them in individual serving size so that you have healthy homemade frozen dinners at the ready for lunch or for dinner or breakfast, because you're not going to really have time to prepare elaborate meals. So cooking and freezing ahead is definitely something that you are capable of doing before baby arrives.
All right. So, what do postpartum doula services include?
So the number one thing is newborn care assistance and a lot of reassurance that mom's doing things great. Breastfeeding support. So we're trained to recognize and troubleshoot normal, everyday newborn breastfeeding problems, and to refer out if it's something that needs a board certified lactation consultant. Healthy infant sleep is a huge one. What does a infant sleep look like? Soothing techniques for your infant, different swaddling techniques, baby wearing. I encourage every family to find a baby carrier that is comfortable for them to use, because every body shape is slightly different and different people will be comfortable with different ones. And I don't recommend buying a baby carrier unless you're able to return it after you've tried it, because you're not going to know if it's the right one for you if you don't get to use it beforehand. Meal planning, I will do some meal planning and food preparation. So I will chop vegetables, cut things up, lots of dishes. I will wash baby bottles, do laundry, fold laundry. Hold your infant. Sometimes infants just need to be held, and the parents might be tapped out, like they just need some time without the baby. So I will hold the baby for you. which is very special. Also, if mom or dad has any questions about anything, I will answer it. If I don't know the answer, I will do the research for them so that they don't have to do that on top of everything else that they need to do. Breast health for nursing moms, troubleshooting clogged milk ducts, that goes back to the lactation care, and a listening ear. Sometimes mom needs to talk about the birth, the pregnancy. I know for myself, my first is going to be 20, and I still talk about her birth.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes moms really need to talk about it again and again, and their friends don't want to listen anymore, and that's something that I love to do. One of the things that I love most about being a postpartum doula is the connections that I have with the moms. And it's really special developing a bond with someone during that time. And the baby is just an added bonus. I am there for the mom, not for the baby. And I just want all moms to know that a postpartum doula's job is to be there for you. And whatever that looks like, to best support you, to help you rest and recover and be the best mom that you can be. That's all we want to do.
All right. And what about local resources? So you mentioned like lactation consultants and further support when it's needed. What kind of local resources are available that you?
So one of the biggest ones in the area is Mind Body Baby Charlotte. There's La Leche League Charlotte. There's also a baby cafe in Charlotte where nursing moms can go for lactation support.
Really? I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, so you can bring your baby, you can weigh your baby before a feed and after a feed. I think there is an IBCLC staffing the baby cafe.
Wow.
But it's just a nice place for moms to get together and hang out and breastfeed together.
Awesome. That's amazing.
I don't know of any other ones other than the one in Charlotte, but there might be more that I don't know about.
All right. And what do you wish you'd known about doulas before babies?
They are just such a wonderful resource. Like, it goes back to what I was saying before, that we were meant to live in villages, and we don't really have that anymore. And the support that you can get from a postpartum doula, you might make a friend for life too. I wish I knew that there was loving, non-judgmental support out there for new moms. Mm-hmm. Family members mean well, but sometimes they're not the best resource for you during such a vulnerable time. We don't come in with an agenda. We come in to support you. And if I had known that after my first child was born, I wouldn't have waited. I hit crisis mode myself. If I had known that postpartum doulas existed, I would have lined it up before my daughter was born.
Yeah.
To prevent that crisis from happening. It really makes it made a huge difference for me, and impacted me so much that I knew this is what I wanted to do after my children were grown. When my youngest started his first day of kindergarten, I went to my first client. That was 9 years ago. She and I are still in touch to this day. It's a beautiful thing. It's a relationship you will never forget. At least I don't ever forget the relationships that I develop with the moms. It is really just a wonderful experience, hopefully for both myself and and the client, which I've developed some really close friendships from it. I've got a friend out in Seattle. I've got one in Germany. But that it's loving, non-judgmental support. That's the key.
Yeah. We
want to support you and meet you where you are at, which is something that grandparents can't always do. And they mean well, absolutely, they mean well. But sometimes it's not what the mom needs.
Yeah. All right. And then one last question. Let's talk about what would cause a mom to need further support. There's been a lot of talk. In the last few years, I've heard a lot more talk about postpartum depression and anxiety. And I feel like that's something that wasn't talked about before. So, how do you know when you need?
So, if it's more than just baby blues, so if mom is crying all the time, if mom feels hopeless, not capable of taking care of her baby, thoughts of harming her baby or herself, even dreams, distressful dreams, because sometimes that's sending us a message if we remember them. If mom can't get out of bed in the morning, some baby blues is normal. I would say that if, as a postpartum doula, or mom herself or the partner has any concerns whatsoever that it's something more than the baby blues, that they should reach out to a qualified perinatal mental health professional. Why take the chance?
Yeah.
Why take the chance? There's help out there. If anyone has any concerns about the mother's mental health, to reach out to a qualified perinatal mental health professional. And I also stand by that having non-judgmental support of a postpartum doula can help prevent postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, because you're taking away the isolation and you're taking away some of the exhaustion. And that's priceless.
All right. Anything else you want to tell us today?
Well, if anyone has any questions or wants to speak to me directly, to feel free to reach out to me through my website.
Okay.
Or to email me directly at doula.jennifer@yahoo.com. I am also happy to do, I will meet you in person if you would like for an hour, just to see. It's very important that the person that you're supporting, that you gel.
Yeah.
There has to be a good vibe in order for it to work well.
Well, thank you for meeting with me and letting me interview you. I really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.